Welcome to Inside Urgent Care, hosted by Dr. Cassandra Donnelly, the podcast that brings you real stories straight from the front lines of one of the most dynamic spaces in healthcare, urgent care. Whether you're in the field or just curious, this is your go-to spot for honest conversations, insider insights, and the voices of those who make it all happen. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
So welcome back to the Urgent Care Podcast. I am Dr. Cassandra Donnelly, the host of the new podcast. So I will jump in here and I will let you, Jake Summerford, take us through your official title and kind of walk the audience back in your journey about how you, ventured into urgent care and how you have now taken on such a large leadership role with one of the largest urgent care companies in America.
No, absolutely. Yeah, thank you again for having me. I'm excited to be here. My name's Jake Summerford. I'm a physician assistant by training, and I'm currently the regional vice president of clinical operations for Prisma Health Urgent Care, which is a part of the Well Street Urgent Care system. My background has primarily always been in urgent care. I've been a clinician now for coming up on 10 years. I did a short stint in total joint replacement for about a year. And I loved it, but it didn't fare well with my ADD, as most patients or every patient that I saw either had knee or hip pain. And so during the time of doing that, I was moonlighting on the weekends at an urgent care, and I really just fell in love with it. It was I found it to be a sweet spot between emergency medicine and primary care, which was a great fit for me. As I have kind of thought back through where I've gotten today, um, it's funny. I didn't really set out to be in leadership. It kind of just evolved over time from wanting to fix problems and make certain processes better for the next person. And so I was naturally drawn to the process improvement aspect of it, and to helping teams run smoothly as well.
That's interesting. So you were naturally drawn to the process improvement part of it. I'm going to come back to that because I think that that's a really important place to put a pin. So Jake, you tell me. I heard you say that your ADHD would not allow you to just stick with joints, and that you wanted something more. I don't want to say interesting, but a different variety of
Yes.
healthcare is what it sounds like. And many clinicians, as you know, find themselves coming out of school and going into a specialty immediately. And then they find themselves venturing into urgent care, family practice, emergency medicine. But, more recently, many are coming into urgent care. And so you're not alone in that particular quest. Tell me about what your feelings were as you left total knee and joint, or total joint rather, and came into urgent care. Did you have any anxiety about it? Did you think, do I have enough skill? I wish I had started here from the beginning. What was going through your mind? Because I'm sure that some of our listeners, physician assistants and nurse practitioners, have found themselves in the same situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For me, I didn't have much anxiety leaving. It was bittersweet because I loved the team that I was working with in total joint replacement. It was a really solid team. The physician I was working with was phenomenal. I still stay in touch with him today, actually, 10 years later almost on a regular cadence. And he was just a really great mentor to have. For me, I didn't have much anxiety leaving because I had been moonlighting on the weekends. Had I not had that experience from moonlighting on the weekends, I think I probably would have had more anxiety leaving for sure. Stepping into something that was completely different than the total joint world, right? Uh,
Mhm.
but because I had that experience on the side, it really helps make the process smoother for me. It helped kind of feed into that desire not to lose everything that I had worked so hard to earn from a knowledge perspective while in PA
Mhm.
school as well. Because when you're in school, you're just learning so much from different aspects of medicine, and I really found myself in total joint only using a very small portion of that, which
Hmm.
is nothing wrong with that. It just didn't fix that desire that I had deep down to broaden my skills, which was
Hmm.
that urgent care help address better.
Gotcha. So what I hear you say is that if there are listeners that are thinking about moving into urgent care and they're already in a subspecialty, to maybe put their toe in with some additional hours in urgent care first, weekends, part-time, PRN, shadowing, to be able to get a feel for it and then hone some skills to be able to jump in ready rather than, a fish out of water when they get there.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way of doing it. Um, there's certainly nothing wrong with jumping in head first either, if that's your personality. For me, though, it was much more of testing the waters first to see if this was something I truly would enjoy doing.
Gotcha. Totally understand that. And yeah, and I know there are urgent cares out there that train, fresh, green PAs, NPs, and some physicians that are venturing into urgent care. And there's obviously a vast majority of people that would benefit from that additional education and training. And I know many things in the urgent care world are swirling around now about how to make this a smooth transition for those folks to make sure that they feel supported as they change careers and as they venture into the world of urgent care medicine. So that's a great thing to know as they move and as they transition. And so I want to go back now. I want to go back to um, Jake as the leader,
Mhm.
process improvement. And how did you figure out that you had a niche for process improvement?
As for me personally, as I'm reflecting back through my career, I think a lot of it really, I started to really understand it better during COVID. If I,
Mm-hmm.
when COVID first hit, there was so much unknown, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were all trying different things to figure out what works best. And so there was constant change. There was fear. There were long hours.
Yes.
There's just no playbook when it hit, essentially. And so by having no playbook, it really kind of allowed me to try different aspects. And with
Mm-hmm.
a previous employer too, I had a lot of flexibility open up that allowed me to do different things. And so um, at that time, for us personally, we telemedicine wasn't really a mainstream service that we were offering. It was more of a side gig, if you would. Uh,
Right.
then that would having the pandemic come about really allowed us the opportunity to fine tune that service and
Mm-hmm.
make it more of a mainstream aspect that we could offer our patients. And it really allowed us to just test different workflows to see what would work best. And I'm sure you can relate, but it was a very fluid time. Things changed all the time. It felt like every day.
Yes.
But through that aspect, it allows us to kind of figure out what works best for us and be creative at times as well. And so that kind of really helped me with the process improvement aspect and realized, hey, it is stressful. And I don't want to downplay that at times, especially during the COVID era, but it's a lot of fun as well too. And there's always room for improvement, in my opinion. So let's do a deep dive into that and kind of look at those details.
I completely agree. As you're talking, I'm thinking about the phrase and the old adage that says necessity is the mother of invention. And
Mm.
you never know how much pressure you can withstand until you are actually under pressure and coming out of, let's say, if we think about a diamond, right? The amount of pressure that it takes to create a diamond and what you come out with is something that is so sparkling and fantastic. I think that out of all of the stories of COVID, and certainly there are hundreds, I'm sure thousands of them. The one thing that you hit the nail on the head about is that it caused us to innovate. It literally, as you said, caused us to think that daily we needed to come up with a different plan to manage something because things were changing daily. And so if process improvement perfection came out of that for you, I think that that's a win, right? Out of the COVID pandemic,
Mhm.
and you're on the other side of it. And so on this other side, I want you to tell our listeners how you went from a area clinical operations director at Wall Street Urgent Care to now your current role. What was that shift like? Tell us what you do now. Tell us who you're responsible for, because it sounds like, again, you rose to the occasion and you were able to hone all those skills together to really make sure that you came out and you are able to lead with integrity. And I don't want to tell your story for you, but lead a team. And I know that it's something that you're really proud about. So tell us how Wall Street was able to do that for you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for those are some very kind words, and I very much appreciate it. That's for sure. It's I have been very fortunate to be with an organization that promotes not only patient care but provider development as well too. And so for me, from an actual leadership approach itself, there's a bunch of different types of leaderships that you can read about and everything. For me, servant leadership has always been the one that I try to relate to the most. And I always kind of go back to the old saying that I'm never going to ask my team to do something I would never do myself or that I haven't done myself. Right. And as far as building the team and relating to the team, another key aspect that I think is important for leaders to kind of keep in the back of your mind is to never be afraid to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. If your team is struggling with something, dive in with them and try to help them out, but stand beside them while they're fighting through it as well too, because it goes such a far way. Um, when it comes to kind of getting to where I'm at now, really, it's being open to those ideas when the things come up.
Mm,
Always saying yes, and taking on the aspect of change, even when you don't necessarily have a title. So
hmm.
the big thing there is um, don't wait for the title in order to start doing things.
I love
Uh,
it.
Go ahead and start doing things from where you are. You can volunteer for projects. Try to speak up with solutions. Don't necessarily just bring problems to the table. Mentor peers. And then try to really understand the business aspect of things too, from the scheduling, billing, compliance, analytics side. All of those things will kind of get you a seat at the table, so to speak. But it's really having a good understanding of all those key aspects, which help drive the business itself.
I love it. Yeah, it sounds like your mantra became finding a way to get things done.
It is. It is. It's one of the things that we always say here is crush obstacles, right? And it's
Yes.
because there will always be obstacles that come up, right? And you got to be able to do that. And I think another key aspect to it as well is, and I remember this from playing sports growing up, but stay coachable as
Mm,
well.
for sure.
Because uh, I continue to learn as much from my team now as I did years ago as well. You're always learning something new, and it's kind of, I think innately a lot of us as clinicians, we have that mindset already because the medical world is constantly evolving. So we were always students, and we will always be students throughout our career. Um, and so I think it's important to maintain that mentality even through leadership as well.
I totally agree. So walk me through a day in the life of you in your current role? How many persons report to you? Tell me about, how many centers that you support and lead. Walk me through a day of what it looks like to now be in the regional VP position.
Yeah. Um, so right now, I currently have two area clinical operations directors that report underneath me, and each of them manage anywhere from 12 to 15 centers where they provide the clinical oversight for those. And so collectively, we're at about 25 centers right now. And then for me, overall, I work with an operations partner, and he and I oversee the overall operations and all the clinical aspects for the Prisma Health market right now, which primarily resides within South Carolina.
That sounds like a pretty big deal. And it sounds like you have your hands full and that you are leading a team, and I hear servant leadership, and I know that your team is successful and you have great things in mind for them. Sounds like coming pretty soon, and then a little bit further out as well. Jake, tell us what you do for relaxation. I know it's not all work.
It is not all work. Absolutely. I'm a girl dad through and through. I've got two young daughters, 6 and 3, and they take up the majority of our time right now between soccer on the weekends, and then other activities. My oldest is involved in Girl Scouts as well too, and they are they're just my world, if I'm being honest.
Oh.
I love being a girl dad so much. Aside from doing that, I am a big sports guy. I love watching pretty much any sports. Football being a big one for us. We're a big football household here, and so on the weekends, especially this time of year, we are doing something involved probably with sports, whether it's soccer in the mornings for my daughter, and then probably football in the afternoon. Aside from
Absolutely.
that, we love traveling as well, getting to experience things as a family. We we recently did a Disney cruise
Oh,
for
wow.
girls, and there was something that was as a parent, I don't think I've ever seen my girls that happy before, and that was really cool to see. Really cool.
Yeah, there's nothing like seeing your kid's face light up as if it's about to explode from you providing something for them that they literally can't even imagine.
Oh,
Yeah, parenting
no, I
is
100%
amazing
agree.
for
Yeah,
sure.
it was so cool to see. So cool.
Well, Jake, I mean, I want to thank you for taking the time out to sit and chat for a bit. I mean, we've learned about Jake, the PA, we've learned about Jake, the servant leader, Jake, the girl dad, and, Jake, the sports guy, all around person. It certainly takes a well balanced individual to be able to keep all the plates in the air. And so I know that our audience will enjoy listening to how you have been able to do that. And again, what I will say is that my goal is to inspire someone to take a nugget from something that they may have thought about or know someone that they can place in your situation and really inspire them and encourage them to be able to take a leap, take the next step, not be afraid to raise their hand, to ask to be placed into the game, to jump into the fire, to do something extraordinary that will change their life forever. So again, I thank you, Jake, for sitting with me for a little bit. And any parting words?
Well, thank you as well. I've really enjoyed this conversation and being a part of this. I think that if there's anyone considering leadership from a clinician standpoint, or if there is anyone already in leadership, and you know, I don't want to say having second thoughts because that doesn't sound right, but I think one of the key things that I've learned so far, and I have to remind myself, is that you don't always have to know everything or have an answer for everything, but it's important for you to just care enough to listen, learn, and lead. And I think those are some key aspects that help keep me going. And, if anyone has any questions about anything, they're always welcome to reach out. I'm always open to chat.
Awesome. Amazing. Listen, learn, and lead. And with that, I will say we will sign off. Another great presentation, another great conversation with our rising leaders in urgent care. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And so this has been Cassandra Donnelly hosting the Urgent Care Podcast and bringing you the best of what urgent care has to offer. Thank you so much, and I hope you tune in next time.